You'll notice I've got a kind of like a different background at the moment because I'm no longer a San Franciscan. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, California adventure is over. Flew back to Texas, and now I'm back in Dallas for the time being. Um, decided, I don't know, I decided that where I was not working, wasn't really happy, and so took the opportunity to leave. So yeah, now I'm also jobless, unemployed, but back home in Dallas and to figuring out what's next. All right, episode 32. It's been a couple of weeks because I had a move going on, and so now we are back, roaring and big news. Still talk of the town. OpenAI raises officially $187 billion valuation. I think the actual amount was like 6.7 billion. Again, eye-watering number for a company that's only been around, well, at least as far as the public's aware, 2 or 3 years. And then, yeah, Meta's Orion glasses. Meta had their Big Connect event last week, and so we talked a little bit about that. So everybody was actually pretty excited about that. And then Robotaxi predictions, unless it's moved, coming up this week. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. So everything, hopefully don't get sidetracked, but we'll see how it goes. OpenAI raised officially $6.6 billion. It's one of the largest VC rounds ever. So let's see, Sam Altman didn't actually have any equity. I think some of the sidetracks on this are, let's see, Apple ended up pulling out their participation in it, which was kind of interesting, I think, but it makes sense.
Was it official that they pulled out, or were they? Because remember last time we were talking, OpenAI was entertaining all these potential investors.
Yeah. Well, the way I read one of the articles was that Apple decided at the 11th hour that they were not going to participate, which we've kind of talked about previously, which I think makes sense. Apple only picked up other AI things like Gemini and Open and, ChatGPT because they're so far behind. They're just looking for stopgaps, right? And I imagine they don't want any long-term commitment to other companies because they want to build their own, but they just need a way in. So that's why I think participating. But anyways, yeah. So who is in it? So Microsoft, NVIDIA, SoftBank, Fidelity, Tiger Global, and a couple of other VCs that I know are big, and I'm just not too familiar with them. And then I think that's kind of like the highlights at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge raise as everyone's been speculating. I saw before the formal announcement of it, Sam Altman had an all hands where he had publicly said he's not getting any equity.
I don't know if is that really true.
And that's the thing. I mean, they're saying he's not getting any equity. And so I was actually really interested. I was like, oh, juicy. Because if he had gotten equity,
yeah,
man, that would have been like super juicy. I mean, obviously I'd have to file everything, but so it is legit. He's like, with this raise and with everything they have filed, they're not showing Sam Altman getting his 7%, which is $10 billion worth of equity.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know, the super powerful, the ultra wealthy, there are always loopholes. And who knows what's going on, maybe like a future promise or some, handshake or whatnot.
Yeah.
He's probably getting compensated somehow for this.
Yeah.
Just not in the, cap table.
Yeah. Because I've saw some other, people kind of like talk about it. There are a couple of things that I was wondering is because I think there's something about the way it was written in the perspective where it was like the outcome is they just needed to figure out how to, like, their main goal for this round was to IPO. And so that was the biggest driver, is how can they get to the IPO quickly so that they can get their return on their money. Mm-hmm. And then there was this other stipulation that whoever was part of this round could not invest in other AI companies, specifically like Anthropic, X's AI thing. And so there's a couple of other stipulations. I think it was like Altman who put those in, And so I'm surprised when you say he didn't get any equity because the goal of the round was to IPO the company. Apparently, again, I haven't gone through and read any of the details that have been released, but so actually it'll be interesting once it actually gets.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and also, these executive contracts, they're very different than what you and I see in our employment contracts.
Yeah,
I would bet that there's something in his contract that's if you take it to IPO, you will get this X% bonus grant, for example.
Yeah.
I feel like because this whole thing was making news and people were scrutinizing it, that's why they decided not to, maybe cut it at the last minute, his 7% stake and reword it somewhere. That's my hunch, but you know how I feel about Altman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, leading up to this, we didn't talk about this because this happened last week when you were moving, is departed.
Yes.
2 other prominent names at OpenAI departed.
No, we didn't. Okay. Yeah, this is, we chatted about it, or we texted about it.
Oh, that's right. We texted about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mira, who is a CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of one of the hottest and most technologically advanced companies right now, left the company. I mean, as a CTO and someone who's been so invested into something like this, you don't do that because, you're thinking about your next, your 2-year plan, and you do it because some real deep, crap is happening at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most of the, I think Altman's the only one left of the original people who founded OpenAI. If that's anything, if that, gives you an indication of anything, is they're all gone during a period of time when, the company's experienced a kind of crazy growth, crazy valuation. It's not really the time when you leave the company. So it is quite strange.
Yeah. And as part of this as well, they're transitioning to be a for-profit company.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a B Corp, which means they have a cause, which is still, OpenAI and safety around it. But yeah, like you said, this is not the time you would leave a company at that state. And so I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, so much drama up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations to OpenAI, though. I mean,
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see with the IPO. I'm sure all the employees will get a nice payday if they can IPO quickly.
Yeah. And then, one thing I was going to address too is NVIDIA coming in as an investor is huge. But I think, I didn't read, the prospectus, but I would assume much of NVIDIA's investment is in the form of chips, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to need chips.
Yeah.
Well, we will continue to pay attention to the hot drama, but also the hot company that is OpenAI and see what happens with it. Let's talk about another company that made some announcements while we were on our break last week, which is Meta. Meta had their Meta Connect, which is their, I guess it's becoming their Apple challenger, but high praises all around for what Zuck had demoed last week. I personally was also very impressed. I texted you and I just, I watched it. I watched the keynote and then I watched some of the rest of the presentation, but got bored after Zuck spoke. But I was impressed. I was like, we've been talking about Glass's strategy here and they clearly have the strategy, I think, to win in the Glass's field in the next, I'd say 2 to 5 years if they can execute properly. 2 or 3 things out of that was part of Zuck's keynote. One is they introduced a new MetaQuest, so MetaQuest 3. And the way it's kind of coined now is it's 80% of what the Apple Vision can do at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
$299, and You can do all the things that you would, that Apple demonstrates with their Apple Vision Pro, and it looks pretty good. I think the only probably thing that it doesn't integrate with is your Apple devices.
Right.
Vision Pro integrates with like your MacBook, so you can have a bigger monitor, whereas MetaQuest integrates with Windows.
Yep.
The second was the Ray-Ban glasses. So he talked about Ray-Ban glasses, and he showed off a new model, which was a transparent model, which is pretty cool because you can see all the internals of the Meta glasses. And then the last thing was the Orion glasses, which came out in a secured, locked metal box.
No.
So it's been like a top secret project, I guess. And they put it on and they showed people using it. They showed some of the basic mechanics of it. And it was quite cool. New technology. They don't look like something you wouldn't want to wear. And everyone who used it, including Jensen from NVIDIA, was super impressed. So yeah, what are your thoughts on those? The new, headset / glasses strategy that Meta's carrying forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think like kind of what you said, like Mark has an idea where he wants to take it, right? And I think at this point, I think he did a mini interview, like podcasts or rounds afterwards. And I think he was right. It's like at this point, the technology is holding them back slightly, right? Because he wants smaller glasses that last a little bit longer. I think what's also interesting is the Orion is kind of self-powered, right? It also has its own remotes. It's got a wristband.
Yeah, I you mentioned the wristband.
Yeah, that capture the motion. And so I think it's also his way of developing his own platform too. So he's not relying on kind of what you were saying, like Windows or, iOS or OS or Mac OS, or whatever Apple iOS is out there at the time. And so I've said it, like I'm all in on Meta, and my stock has done quite well this past couple of weeks.
All-time highs.
And more. But yeah, no, I think he knows where he's going with it, right? And you think about all the things he did around the metaverse, that's, I imagine, is something that will be incorporated into this like augmented world, augmented reality, right? But yeah, no, it's exciting stuff. But again, still a few years of more work, and it's really just the technology catching up, right?
Yeah, I think each one of these pair of Orion glasses, I think the cost is like $10,000 to make.
Yeah.
And they're only making something like 175 pairs in this next, I think, few months. And very much early adoption. They're probably going to give it to some key, people. And the whole thing is to make it improve by getting people to actually use it. I think like this is the stuff I love most about technology and product development, and is when people can have a vision, which doesn't quite make sense because Mark set this whole stage when he renamed the company to Meta. His whole narrative then was the metaverse, and this is when all the metaverse stocks and coins started digging off.
Yeah.
But then now we fast forward and you're actually seeing kind of that vision come to life in a real way, and it's compelling. And so that's what I love about just like product creation and product development, is when you can have a vision, work on it for many years, and it finally comes together into a well executed.
Yeah.
And so I get excited and I think I get proud for like people who are able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I was also going to mention it's more of like a sidetrack with the Ray-Ban glasses. Is apparently these two Harvard students kind of like hacked it. I wouldn't say hacked, but they basically turned it into a facial recognition scanner.
Oh man.
Did you see it? Did you see that?
No.
So they basically did a live stream with the Ray-Bans that would go to Instagram, and they would have an AI monitoring the Instagram to basically scan faces, which would then go out and do public searches, put it into an app, and they would bring up all that information. So they're walking around used to say it. It's very trippy. It's very Black Mirror-ish. And so that's one of the things where I think could derail some of this is those privacy concerns.
Yeah.
Because they were walking around and would scan and they would go up to the person, oh, did you write this paper? It's like, I really enjoyed your work. And the person's like, how do you know me? Or the one of like, aren't you part of this association? Do you remember we met the last year? My name is whatever your name, et cetera. And it was like, it was pretty creepy. But again, they weren't doing anything nefarious. It was all publicly available
It
information.
was just easier.
It was just, yeah, they just basically built an app that basically piped it all to their phone as they were walking around. And so I was thinking, yep, I mean, this is what happens when you post your life on YouTube, Instagram, is that anybody can find it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rest of the Connect 24 was, they talked about Horizons, they talked about Llama, they talked about some other things, but no, good job to Meta. So
yeah,
I'm excited I was this close to saying, oh, I want to get a Ray-Bans classes now.
I'm really tempted to. Like, I really want to, but I
was like, if I had a job.
Yeah, if I had a job.
No, I actually bought Ray-Ban glasses the very first revision. So I bought them because I want to try them out.
Oh.
But then I returned them. Like, my initial reaction to the first version was too clunky because they are actually, bigger than normal Ray-Bans. Too clunky. Yeah, it's cool to be able to just capture moments anytime. The headphones were actually really good.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, it was decent then, but not worth the, whatever, $200.
Right.
Yeah. But I feel like now, based on what we saw in the demo, I feel like it could be
very worth it. Okay. Well, maybe we pick up some weekly options of the next company, and that will fund our MetaQuest 3 and Ray-Ban glasses.
So Tesla's Robotaxi event is on 10/10, and been playing the stock of it here. I saw this big cup and handle forming on the daily. And so I entered, and actually did pretty good for me so far.
Yeah, nice.
I'm still in. I'm holding it until the event.
Oh.
But it's up like 20%.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think, Tesla has been trying to get past tier 16, has been struggling, but we'll see what happens in Tuesday's event. I thought it'd be good if we did some predictions, but I did want to mention that there have been some interesting things happening in the last couple of weeks. One is McDonald's, I think they tweeted something around 10/10. And so there's speculation that maybe automated food delivery might be a thing.
Okay.
And then Korea has been posting some cryptic images.
Oh, really?
They're like kind of Neo-ish, the movie. Sorry. They're kind of Matrix-ish.
Okay.
Where it's like, just, the green binary code, but they're just imposing cryptic tweets referencing 10/10 in Korea. So.
Okay.
Who knows? But I think a couple things. One, I'm not sure if this is going to be a sell the news event. Like, based on what I'm seeing in the technical analysis of Tesla stock, it's ready to blow. But depends on what they announce, right? I think too, there's a lot of hype being generated around it, and even other, people who are maybe, and people who have like insider information, they've been trying to hype it up and saying, oh, your mind's gonna be blown, and etc. So, but there was a departure from Tesla last week. The chief information officer, I believe, he departed last week right before the event. So I'm not sure what that was about, but I think it's going to be good. I think that there's going to be some interesting things that Elon talks about that can be game changing. I think that there's going to be something, I would just put a bet, something will be flipped on or launched at the event that's available right away. That's going to be in some automated fashion. However, I don't think it's going to be something so mind blowing that's like, oh yeah, this is Robotaxis. Taxis
Right.
are here. I think something's going to be launched. Something's going to be working in the real world. It's not going to be as, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not going to be as astounding as it's been being hyped up to be. That being said, I do think they are going to demo the future, which will be astounding. But in typical Elon fashion, he'll say, coming next year, when the reality is it'll be 2 to 3, maybe 5 years. Yeah. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. For me, it's like, if it's not better than Waymo, then it's like a nothing. It's like, we'll say he talks about it, but if he starts to say it's revolutionary or whatever, it's like, well, what does it do differently than Waymo does? Because like I see them all over San Francisco. Like the Waymos are all over San Francisco. They drive exactly like a human. It's like I like watch them make turns and stuff, and like they're aggressive into the turns, like trying to beat the light, just like a human would. And so technology is actually really good already with these other companies, which you haven't seen with Tesla. And so like 2 things for me need to happen. One is he needs to talk about FSD, how it applies to that, right? Everybody's paying, all these people are paying for it, yet, like you said, it's like, I think it's like a level 1, level 2 system at this point, right? So if he doesn't talk about that's one thing I think he needs to address, right? Because that's like the crux of Robotaxi. And then 2, I'm just more curious on the production side. Like, what are the actual Robotaxis? Is it leveraging your Tesla, or is Tesla going to roll out their own like low cost Teslas? And so I think those are the 2 things he needs to address. Otherwise, it would be sell the news of it.
I've seen some renderings from people of a standalone Robotaxi, and they actually look pretty cool. Not to mention that could be a surprise thing, because last week some news broke out that they removed the rear-wheel drive.
The
Model 3.
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing that in preparation to announce a lower cost, maybe, model. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that'd be interesting. On Waymo, I saw recently some TikToks that are popping up of people running up to Waymos and like
vandalizing them. Yeah. It's like, we can't have nice things in this world. It's like, why?
So what I saw was this dude who was in a Waymo. He was in the passenger seat, and he had his dog. And he just holding his dog. These guys are running up to the Waymo while it stopped and spray painting it. And they're like, well, help, like, let's get out of here. And the thing is, the Waymo's not going to move if someone's right in front of it, right? So,
right. Yeah.
Whereas if you're like driving the car, you honk.
Yeah, I'd probably run them over. Yeah. Technically, you could jump into the driver's seat of the Waymo and take control. Yeah. It's like, it just makes no sense. Like I saw another one where it was like, women in there, again, it was at night, and these dudes run out and start spray painting the way around. It's like, not cool. It's pretty idiotic, but
yeah. On the FSD topic, I did want to talk about that a little bit too, because I finally got 12.5, I think, early last week.
12.5. Is it a beta? Is it a beta version, or is it a release?
No, it's the release. Well, okay. I don't know. I got it now, so I don't know if it's the beta version or the release. I'm assuming it's the release, since I'm not in the like internal crew.
Okay.
But I got 12.5, and I was excited for it because everyone has been hyping that up as well. And it sucks. It's actually worse than 12.3.
This is what I mean. It's like, if you can't get FSD right, how are you going to get a Robotaxi?
Yeah, I mean, I thought 12.3 was pretty good, like, but 12.5, the one thing that's been happening frequently now is it can't take bends good. So if there's 2 lanes and it's taking a bend, all the time it creeps over the line in the middle to the right side. And it's done that when there's been like a car next to me or like a car behind me.
Oh, that's not good.
And I've had to intervene. The other thing it's doing now is it's when it takes certain turns, like left to right from a stop, it's for jittery. So it's like, come on. So I need to send a message to the Tesla Center to be like, is there something faulty with my car? Because this is worse than 12.3.
Right.
However, I did use Summon because one of the things with 12.5 is they've improved the Summon capability.
Okay.
And that was actually a lot better than anything I've seen before. So, I don't know. It's like trade-offs, and the Summon is interesting because, I don't know, it's just advancements, but then also, steps back to which, like you said, how do you get it right? Gotta get it right. Gotta get everything right because, Waymo seems to have it right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Interesting tidbit. I don't know if this is true or not. Again, as I was reading news about that OpenAI stuff, apparently I forget what the dude's name is. His last name starts with C. I guess he was the main driver for Tesla's AI initiatives. And then once he left for OpenAI, that's kind of when FSD, et cetera, fell apart at Tesla. Because he was kind of like the brains behind it. And so once he left, that's kind of why progress on FSD has basically gone nowhere for the past couple of years. Is because he's gone.
Yeah, well, I think I'm happy I paid for it very early because I paid for it as a loft, right? I'm saying, whereas all these like price increases and everything, totally not worth the whatever it is now.
Yeah. Oh,
he's up good.
It was Andrej Karpathy. Apparently, when he left, that's when it kind of like halted. So that's what I'm curious. Like, anyways, 2 things I'll be looking for in the Robotaxi.
Yeah, I'll try to watch that one live and interested in what happens to the stock. I mean, for all the other reasons going on with the market right now, it should be popping up after that event. So if it's just underwhelming, that's why it would pop down. But otherwise, the economy, the market, everything else has pretty high bullish momentum right now.
Yeah, apparently, which I'm like, really? It's like, really? It doesn't feel like it. I'm still bag holding Rivian, which again, it's down into the 10s.
Well, Rivian decreased because they cut their production forecast.
I'm like, why can I not solve? You guys, Volkswagen should be helping them address this. So I don't know why they continue to have these problems.
Patience, Tony. That's how you win in the stock market. Patience.
Don't want patience. I want instant 100x, please.
That's how you lose.
So I can officially retire and just buy fun gadgets and talk about fun gadgets.
All right. Well, good to have you back in sunny, hot, Big D.
Big D. I don't even know why I said the Big D. Maybe that's why. It's a big Sid logo.
Well, Dallas is big, so.
It is big. That's one thing I'm realizing. It's taking me forever to get to places.
Gotta drive everywhere now.
Yeah.
And next week, we'll see you back, hopefully with your peripherals, so you are not. Maybe you won't be on dial-up anymore. Maybe you'll have a 1080p camera. Maybe you'll have a boom mic.
I got a lot of things to figure out. We'll see. Cross fingers.
All right. Well, see you all next week.
All right. See ya.